Hello everyone, this is CJ Novo 992 and today we're back from the brand new video. Now today's video, it actually marks the start of yet another European campaign, except with a little cheeky twist in there, as it's a one-leg shootout. Speaking of shootout, which my autocorrect sometimes puts in when I write shout-out, by the way, that transitions perfectly. That's awful, but I'm just going to keep the ball rolling, right? Just a wee quick shout out to the channel sponsors and the channel legends themselves, OneFootball, who help the channel so much behind the scenes. So if you do want a free footballing app, who does now offer some Champions League and Europa League qualifiers for free on the app, the link for that is down there in the description below. Oh, now I'd truly love to say that the content is going to get better throughout today's video, but that's the level we like to keep here at the channel, so let's just keep the ball rolling then, shall we? And diving right into today's video, we have the oppositional preview and we face Lincoln Red Imps, and yes, I'm glad I said that correctly. Now, just in case you don't know anything about Red Imps, they're of course from Gibraltar, which makes it back-to-back years now. We flew over and played at Victoria Stadium, which again is a bit of a marvel, and we played there last year as we comfortably won versus St Joseph's. And speaking of St Joseph's, that kind of gives us a wee indication of the level we're actually up against tomorrow, because St Joseph and Red Imps were battling each other all season long for that second spot in the league, and going into the playoffs there was just 2 points separating the sides, as St Joseph sitting second and Red Imps were in third. But when it was all said and done, St Joseph actually pulled away from Red Imps and created a 5-point gap between the actual teams. And that right there to me is more important and more relevant than the other news that's getting flung around and being clickbaited absolutely everywhere since this tie was obviously announced. Now, just in case you don't know what I'm talking about, yes, this is the Red Imp side that bet Celtic 1-0 4 years ago under Brendan Rodgers. Yes, that was 4 years ago. They did catch Celtic cold before being slapped away from home, and I know that's getting everyone all excited because this is a one-legged shootout, and if they can repeat and history can repeat itself, they could knock Rangers out. But that's 4 years ago now. A lot of the players have left, only a couple remain in and amongst that setup, and I felt looking at last season and seeing what they've been doing more recently, like what have you been doing for me lately type of thing, was more relevant and more important to actually mention. Now, this is usually the part in today's video where I use a transition line and we talk about how this team's getting on in the league, where they find themselves, how they're performing, how they're setting up, and what tactics they are using, which they could bring in versus Rangers. That's usually what we do here, but that's made exceptionally difficult given the fact that they have only played 2 games since March. My next talking point about Red Imps, you may have actually clocked yourself when I was talking there a minute ago. Their last bit of action was on the 27th of August, meaning it's been about 20 days. I think that's right if my math's correct. It probably isn't. It's me. But it has been about 20 days to the day since they last played and gone into tomorrow. There may be some slackness. They may not be 100% match sharp, but they, instead of seeing that as an excuse or maybe using that going into this game as not being at it, they're actually seeing it as a positive thing because they're fully fresh. They haven't been playing midweek games or anything. They've not been away on international duty for the majority of their squad. They've been focused and ready, focusing in on this game, which again is massive for them. So they're actually seeing that as a positive because they've got nothing else to save in the tank. They've not got another game at the weekend to keep an eye out of. This is it right now, and they're going into this game to release every single bit of energy they have, especially given the fact that this is a one-legged tie, which makes this game a hell of a lot more dangerous, or makes this tie a hell of a lot more dangerous than it would be normally, especially if we were able, no matter what happened tomorrow, take them back to Ibrox, fill the stadium, have that absolutely rocking, and hopefully tear them a new one. That's gone now. The safety blanket of playing at Ibrox is away now, and we again are gone to a place that they have caused shocks to Scottish opposition before, and like we did mention earlier on today's video, there is a couple of players that was a part of that game and they've been very, very vocal saying they've done it before, they can do it again, and they're going to go ahead and try and do that to cause another famous victory. But speaking of victory, let's go ahead and talk about Rangers now then, shall we? So that's the oppositional preview done and dusted. Now it's time to talk about what matters most to me and and it's of course Rangers. And coming into this game of football, as weird as it is to say, this couldn't come at a worse time in my personal opinion. And no, it's not because Rangers are struggling and this could knock us out or anything like that. Nah. It's the exact opposite. We are flying in the league right now, and having the distraction of European football, especially with the game coming at the weekend, for me, is a bit annoying. But that's just me, ladies and gentlemen. My full focus is on the league, but the same cannot be said for these players because Gerrard has been very, very vocal talking up the importance of playing in European football, so there's no excuse for anybody on taking the eye off the ball tomorrow and not being professional. And I thought Gerrard really nailed that in this week's press conference, saying just because you play for Rangers doesn't mean you can walk in there and think the game's won. You've got to go out there, roll up your sleeves and do the job, and that's exactly the type of guy we need in charge of this football club to keep these guys on a level focus going to game basis, because winning's infectious, but so is playing crap, ladies and gentlemen. So let's just keep the ball rolling and keep these wins coming and go target tomorrow and go ahead and get through to the next round. Because as Gerrard alluded to in this week's press conference, that is how we are able to keep improving the squad every single year. That's how we're able to attract the calibre of the players that we are now attracting. It's because of these runs in European football and the moolah that's bringing. So I think with that being said and Gerrard's overall stance on this game tomorrow, it kind of gives us a wee indication and actually answers that question we've all got in the back of our minds. Was there going to be massive changes to the squad tomorrow with the Hibs game coming? Well, no, ladies and gentlemen. I don't expect to see whole squad changes. Yes, there's going to be a couple of rotations because of fitness, but this is going to be a strong lineup that we can put out in terms of fitness to make sure there's no mistakes tomorrow. But one of the changes that I am hoping that we actually see tomorrow is one at the striking position, because I'd like to see Kemar Roofe rested for the game versus Hibs, because I think he's really grown into his role now at Rangers. But there's another player with that weight still on his shoulders for not scoring his first goal for Rangers, and I'm looking at this game tomorrow as the perfect opportunity and perfect chance for a laddie to get that off his shoulders. And I'm obviously talking about big Cedric Eaton. He is fully fit and ready to go now. He's got over his injury knock, and even just looking at this game from a kind of a tactical point of view, their two centre halves aren't exactly the most commanding in the air. I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but that could be a real area that we could exploit if the big man's in there and we're whipping balls in for him. And now that I've just said all that and said how perfect he would be for this game tomorrow, you know for a fact he's not going to be starting. It's going to be anyone else leading the line besides big Cedric, but hopefully gets involved in the game at some point tomorrow and just get that weight off and just get back to doing what he does best, and that's scoring goals for fun. But regarding the old leading the line scenario, we do have a bit of good news, and that's about the man Alfredo Morelos, who is thankfully alright and is actually available for selection tomorrow after that horrific challenge versus Dundee United. Gerrard and everything that's came out and said he was very, very lucky, and he is, and fingers crossed that he continues to be that lucky as the season goes on. So it could be interesting. Could he put Morelos in there to unleash him, to get that aggression out of him against this mob tomorrow? Or do we rest him and keep him for what will be a very feisty tie versus Hibs? It is going to be interesting, but something else I found very interesting was the SFA's ruling on that horrific challenge on Alfredo Morelos. Yes, if you've not seen it, they came out and says it wasn't worth a red card. It wasn't a red card challenge, ladies and gentlemen, and there will be no action taken for the challenge on Alfredo Morelos, which I'm going to just be honest and frank with you watching today's video. I didn't even want to say anything here. I want to ask you watching, yes, you, what did you honestly think was going to happen? Did you, for even a split second, did any fibre of your being honestly think the SFA would do anything about that challenge? Did you? No? Well, me neither, ladies and gentlemen. It was so obvious that that was going to be the outcome, and that's why we are in a footballing state. But hey, at least the compliance officer has a wee bit more time now to go ahead and enjoy herself. She's not needed again until maybe a Rangers player steps out of line, and then she'll actually be a thing again. But now let's stop talking about the monster squad and get back to talking about Rangers thing then, shall we? The good news is Morelos is available for selection. Someone else is available for selection, by the way, is John McLaughlin, who would normally kind of drop out at these times, like our number one goalie would sometimes drop out at these types of games, but he's expected to start as Alan McGregor isn't at 100% just yet. But unfortunately it isn't all good news, as both Ryan Jack and Brandon Barker have officially been ruled out of this game, as they didn't even travel with the squad. Jordan Jones is apparently ruled out of the game as well, which is a bit of a surprise because a hell of a lot of people online were talking about this could be the chance for Jones, but looks like he isn't going to be involved in the game either. So it's going to be very interesting to see who Gerrard does go ahead and select with. But on that AstroTurf surface, you never know what and who will be actually playing the entire 90 minutes. I'm just hoping we come out this game qualifying to the next round, another clean sheet and no injuries gone into the weekend. But that's it, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. It's a very short one today, but that's the oppositional preview. That is the Rangers press conference, and that is a little preview on the Rangers side regarding some team news wrapped up in a neat little bow. Now, all that's left is for me and thee to get their thoughts and opinions out there in the comment section below. So now you know a little bit more about the game. What are you predicting? And why? Now, while you guys are hopefully getting your thoughts and opinions out there, I'll give you mine very, very briefly. And I didn't mean this by any disrespect at all to Lincoln Red Imps, but I'm expecting to pump this mob absolutely rotten tomorrow. That would be very, very nice. I know they're going to set up defensively. I know they've got a hell of a lot of fitness stuff done. They've been looking a hell of a lot of Rangers and fully focused on just Rangers, as we've had to focus in between other games. But I just think when we do get the breakthrough, we're just going to be too much for them. And I am hoping that's the case anyway. But I'm going to go with Rangers 4, Red Imps 0. My goal scorers are going to be Cedric Itten to score a dirty double. Kent, I'm expecting to get a goal. And I don't know, I feel like a centre-half's going to score in this game as well. Alright everyone, this is usually the part where I jump over to Twitter and I speak about so many people getting involved with the poll and that. Well, I realised when I put my phone down and started recording today's video, I had the tweet written, I just didn't press it, so I've literally just done it in the now there. Oh, there's one vote in. Oh, there's 8 votes in. It's 100% Rangers. Apologies lads, I'm absolutely useless. Now legitimately the very first one in comes from Matt 2 seconds ago, and he writes in 5-0 with a Kent double, Itten and Connor Golton scorpion kick. I like where your head's at, Matt. I like it, son. Ross Watson, channel OG, writes in 4-0 to Rangers, Jack to score 5. Scott Cameron writes in defo a 4-0 win for the Mighty Blues. Dickie writes in 6-0 to Rangers. Alfie double, Kent double, Hadji and Bornabear. Now I'm going to have to click off and refresh it to see if there's any more written in. Ewan McKenzie is the next one, and he writes in 5-0 to Rangers. Alfie with 2, Kent with 2 and Tav with 1. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. That's how many he's been able to write in for the 45 seconds I've done the actual intro. Apologies lads, my head's kind of just all scattered with like family stuff and that the new, so I'm not exactly on my game, but I'm trying, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully you have enjoyed today's video. But as always, I've been Siege over 92. Thank you so much for watching, and bye.